Welcome back, Lego Train people. Don by here. A bunch of updates. Dog's still eating the cookie, of course. So, still working through my treatment. Still got some medical issues, but it's going pretty good. I feel a little bit better. Still have some issues. Still side effects from the antibiotics that I've been taking, but you know how it is. And just want to say thank you guys for still watching, still being there through this bull crap. So let's get started. I think first things first, and kind of like a bigger overview here is I have once again updated the layout. Yes, I know I keep changing my layout, but what I found out is I might have been a little bit more messed up from my condition and the drugs I'm taking for it, because my layout was not geometrically correct. There was a few pieces that were off just a little bit and was causing some issues. So what I did is I went back through, changed my layout to be a little bit closer to how I had it before. It's not quite the same because there's a number of things I need to deal with and a number of problems that I got to overcome. But what I did is I went through in a designer program and basically tried to build my layout, found out where the issues were, ended up tearing apart every single aspect. Okay. The other thing you're going to see is we no longer have any colored pieces. We do, however, and we'll get to this in a minute, trust me. But what we do have is a number of lighter, like very light gray pieces. Like you can see one over there. And that is because I am out of the dark gray filament that matched the Lego filament very, very well. And I don't even have my backup filament that was like at least close. So I got to find a new dark gray filament because they also don't sell the one I was buying, even though it was pretty cheap and it was like a high volume product. That company just doesn't make that filament anymore. Don't know why, but it is what it is. However, I did print some lighter ones in both a very light gray and then also a silver PLA Plus from eSun that I found laying around in a bin in my basement. Amazingly, it was still good. I dried it out for like 12 hours in my dry box, and that was it. I didn't need to put it through a dehumidifier. I didn't need to do any of that crap. I love eSun. It's a great filament. It's just very expensive, which is why I don't buy it anymore. But I found an old reel, cleaned it up. It was dusty. It was dirty. Needed dried out. Works great. Doesn't match whatsoever. Not even going to pretend like it does. So you're going to see several of those pieces in the layout. I've also have some new 3D printed files from a new source. They are available. I'm not selling anything yet. A couple people have asked me if I can print out some of the more custom pieces. Trix Bricks sells 99% of what I do. The difference is that I'm US based, so I might be able to save money on shipping, but I have to see how much it's going to cost me per piece, and I obviously need to get a filament that's going to match. Obviously, colors, not a big deal. I can do whatever colors you want kind of deal, but we'll get there when we get there. And then when we do get there, I'll be showing you what I'm printing. I'm going to be giving the proper attribution, showing you where you can get the files on your own if you want to print them, because I'm not here to gatekeep. But if people are asking, I will take advantage of that market opportunity and sell some pieces, probably at a loss or not making a profit. It'll be more of a hobby thing. But I'll take advantage of that market and help people out and introduce people to 3D printed track, because there is a lot of bias against it. And a lot of people who still think 3D printing is the way it was in 2012. And it's come so far since, the original kind of Ultimaker and, original Rep Wrap stuff. Like, it's way better. You can literally buy a printer for $200 that with very, 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 very minimal tweaking without buying a bunch of accessories is basically just click print. Okay, so there's a bunch of them. But that being said, that's the first thing you're going to notice is the lack of color pieces. It's not because I have anything against color pieces. It's just because I wanted a more cohesive design whenever I was working on the track. We'll get it colorful, we'll get it primed up, we'll do some crazy stuff later. For now, I needed to get something that was geometrically correct for testing of a few things. But this video, I want to kind of focus on the overall. We'll cover a few smaller projects, and then we might do individual videos on some stuff later. So without further ado, this is the new 9-volt half of the track. Now, some things that have not changed. This branch, still all 9-volt. From basically their back is all 9-volt. This loop is all 9-volt. And that's pretty much it, because I don't have any more 9-volt because shit's expensive. Don't tell you. We are still rocking the ghetto 9-volt that I'm not going to zoom in on right now, and the wiring that I'm also not going to zoom in on right now. The only difference is that, and you're getting a great view of my basement here, it is on a smart plug, so I can at least control it, shut it on and off without having to physically unplug it anymore. So it's like, one step. And I have some plans, and unfortunately the job I had working with the railroad didn't work out due to some practices of the company that basically meant I got stranded in 90+ degree heat with a broken down van. And the two supervisors I had, both my supervisor and the regional, weren't answering their phones or were just basically telling me too bad. And then have proceeded to call me several times asking me if I want my job back, and I'm not dealing with it, not for the meager salary that they were paying me. So I do have plans to pick up more, but it's going to have to wait until the employment and financial situation is better. And if anyone has 9-volt track that they're looking to sell for cheap, or really anything, then that's fine. We'll work something out if you want something for it, or if you just want to get rid of it. I'll obviously take it. I'll pay shipping, whatever. But hit me up if you have anything, any good offers. Be happy to deal with it. So, next thing. So obviously layout change, a little bit different of a loop. It's very close to the original. It's just a little smaller. I am going to extend it and fix all that later. But for now, again, I just wanted 2 matching loops. Which does mean, by the way, we can, for the first time on my layout at least, we can race trains against each other. Problem is, I only have 2 trains and this one's slow as crap. Except I don't really have 2 anymore. The cursed little switcher, the cursed little shunter, is now way less cursed. I did this little build on it. I completely rebuilt it from the ground up. There's hardly any, if any at all, temporary pieces. The running gear is great. I think it's got a unique little look. I'm missing a light, and I forgot about that till just now. And it is powered up. Regular City Hub. Right now, just running on AAAs, unfortunately. Working on key brick stuff, don't worry, it's coming. I got this little flat car empty with no magnetic buffer on the end. This is going to be a camera car. This is originally the base for this, which I changed over because I wanted to have bogies because there were so many non-bogeyed things. In fact, one of them ended up on here just as like a little maintenance car, kind of the idea. But that's at least cool that we have a third train. And it's a little shunter. I think it looks way better. Again, this is built with just spare parts that I have laying around. So the fact that I managed to conjure up enough to make that, kind of crazy. And yes, I know the front window's blue. There's nothing I could do about it. The red windows are expensive, and if I get red windows, they're going on this guy. It is what it is. Again, temporary situation. So, this part, just standard 9-volt, all the way up to here, all the way through there. Train station, still in the same spot as it was last time. This center rail is actually a little bit more centered than it was before. This is slightly shorter, this little offshoot. It's usually the little shunter that's parked there, so it's not the end of the world, actually. And I doubt I'm going to be adding much more to it. So then, the real big change here is this loop is now a symmetrical loop. Before it was kicking out there, running all the way around, and then the switch was over here. I moved the switch to the end. Sure, it's not as unique. Sure, it's a little bit more boring. And, you know, it requires no flex track, and everything is R40. So it's very my style. But there's a reason for that. One, again, I needed something geometrically perfect for now to solve a few issues I was having with the layout. And then two is this that you see here. Now, these two curves are not the same. This is R32. This is what I used a bunch of that old spare non-matching PLA for. R32, and then the other half is R40. Now that does put a tiny bit of stress on it just because of the way it's set in the layout. But I don't care if I stress a bunch of 3D printed pieces. You could see we have some lifting. This board that I have for the base of my table is also a little warped from humidity and temperature change and bringing it out from my garage to here. And it's still settling. It's still dealing with it. So that's just going to happen. There's also not a ton of weight on it yet. And that won't happen until we start doing layout stuff, which will be a long time from now, gotta say. The other thing that happened is, for now, I'll rotate here. My powered switches are disabled. This one would work if I plugged it in, so it's not a big deal. And this is the one that gets used the most anyway. As long as I set that far one correctly, I can play with the entire layout using this guy and a laptop to switch it or whatever I want to do. Then it'll be great. But the other thing that we got going on here is that I need to either tear apart and clean and lube these switches, or I just need better ones. Now, these are all used, unknown, cheapest, sniped them on auctions on eBay, and one I got really cheap on Brickout. It was in poor condition. I did end up 3D printing these little gray levers. They're available on Thingiverse. They're great. And actually, for these switches, they feel much more solid. I always felt like I was going to break these switches using the little yellow ones. These give me confidence. The only problem with it is it's not compatible with most powered or automated switching. Okay, but it is really good. But these switches, none of them are clicky. None of them are satisfying. They're all like even when you push them, like there's a little bit more room after you switch, and it causes problems. This one in particular, this really likes to stick out like that much. Now cause a trail to derain versus it being sucked in. It's like that, and it'll just hang there sometimes. And then whenever I'm backing a train up, it just derails the entire thing. Is what it is. Some of these switches are old. The other thing that I did, and I don't have one available, but I had like this like lighter bluish gray. That's a poor example. The lighter bluish gray, kind of like, well, it's not light bluish gray, but the dark gray track, okay, does not match the older like brown gray track. Okay, and this curve here was actually, although 9 volt was in this color 9 volt, so it was the super late 9 volt stuff. It was, they had switched to the new color, but were still producing 9 volt tracks right before the beginning of the RC era. I actually kind of prefer the look of it over the old stuff, and it's easier to color match, and it's easier to hide other grays versus like this more brownish gray color. I'm sorry. I know the official color names, but again, I'm going through some medical stuff, so I can't even stop and think right now. In fact, I'm going to be exhausted just from filming this video. So again, I apologize, guys. I promise I'll be back full swing soon. Oh, here's some. Hold on. You can see it right here. So 9 volt, but in the newer color, and 9 volt in the older color. I would like to get my hands on a bunch of this. A, because it's newer, especially if there's switches in that color. Because A, I know it's newer. B, it's going to match the rest of my layout better for the newer stuff. And I think this older gray stuff I'm going to still continue to collect, because any 9 volt is 9 volt right now, right? And basically there are 3 ways to get 9 volt. And that is buy this old vintage 9 volt stuff that's going to have a finite amount, it's collectible. Guys are hoarding the straight pieces. It's so hard to get straight pieces for a decent price nowadays. You could buy FX brick stuff, which is even more expensive. And it doesn't seem like FX Bricks has any intention on lowering prices ever. I think it's only going to go up from here. Hopefully I'm wrong. But that is what it is. Or make your own, which I've had good success with both real Lego and adding copper tape to it, and 3D printing stuff and adding copper tape to it. And I've had really good success with both of those. It seems really good. They haven't really worn out, hasn't messed up, and the performance has been good. What the performance has not been good on, and I'm going to preface this with, I am using this product in a way not intended. So keep that in mind. I am in no way, shape, or form saying this is a bad product. I support this product. I like this product. I think it has a million uses. Just I wanted to push it to the extremes. I wanted to really test the limits of this and see how far it can go, see what its current limitations are for my own personal use. And I will do a video and share it with you. The Bevins Bricks single powered pickup has been powering this 9 volt train for weeks and weeks and weeks on end, powering it for most of the day. Like, this train runs for hours and hours and hours and hours a day, to the point that that little crappy transformer I have gets a little bit warm for the comfort and I shut it off. It is not consistent. I now have to clean those power pickups twice a day to keep the train running at any kind of reasonable speed. Again, the single powered pickups were never intended for this purpose. Okay. The dual pickups are way better. Okay. They just are. You get more contact points. You get reliability going over switches if you're using power functions. This is just direct wired. I can't reverse this train. Once she runs the loop until I stop and back her up manually. Okay, I'm fine with that functionality. I have plans for that, but it's going to be at a way later date. But it's picked up dirt and debris both on the wheels and inside between the actual stainless steel wheels and the bearing. It collects some dirt. You need to clean it off. I tear apart the entire pickup, clean it, blow it out with compressed air, and it's good for a couple hours. And then I got to do it again. So twice a day I've been doing it. Again, not the product's problem. I'm using it for what's basically its worst case scenario, and that is constantly running around track. I did clean my entire track, the entire layout. I hit it with a wire brush to get off all the bigger grime. None of my tracks were really super corroded anyway, or super dirty, but got off all the bigger grime, got it exposed and shiny, then went through with alcohol and cleaned every single bit of rail, including in between all the contact points, and then wiped it off with a dry, lintless cloth and paper towel several times. And you're still going to get some grime up on the old tracks even after all that, especially because it's in a basement and dust gets kicked up, and I have not finished my basement renovations yet, so it is what it is. But that did not help the longevity of how long the wheels last before they need cleaned. Now, I have a couple theories on that, but I want to do a separate video on it, so I'm not going to talk about it anymore. Just that I still believe in the product. If you're using it for lighting, if you're using 2 of the single powered pickups spaced out for some reason, if you're using them on a passenger car for accessories, or any other use case, or you're using them to build your own charging circuit or to charge like a Keybrick One, then great, that's awesome. It's beautiful. They are great use case for that. Don't use them for what I'm using them for. Even though it makes it over gaps and even like entire sections, as long as the train has some momentum, it's not intended for that. It's not great. So those are the major updates. Is that whole new layout, optimized layout. Got some R32 that I'm playing with. R32, for those of you that don't know, fits perfectly inside R40. And R24 fits perfectly inside R32. R32 is the tightest track you can do while barely being inside the correct geometry constraints for official LEGO trains. Anything tighter than this, and you're in the realm of you're on your own. R24, and I've seen it in some trolley builds, tighter than R24, is definitely not going to be compatible with most of your LEGO trains. Even this guy, he could do R24, but some of the carts that he pulls are not happy about it. They're technically rubbing the entire curve where they don't always necessarily rub the entire R40 curve as it is. And some of those wheelbases have even been shortened. So that's the big layout. That's the big changes. I'm still working on other projects. I am happy with that switcher. I think it looks great compared to how it was. I'll continue to refine it in the future. This guy, still running like a champ. The one thing I did do is right now, and you might have gotten a look at it, is right now it just has two wheels in the front because I'm messing with some stuff, and it is now rear wheel drive instead of front wheel drive. And that's just so that whenever it's moving, it's pushing. Like, it's hard to explain, but technically with physics, it'll push the wheels into the track versus kind of lifting them off the track in certain scenarios, especially with my super bumpy, crappy, homemade, melted, messed up powered rail. It performs much better that way with the power at the front, drive at the rear. Is what it is. So, is there anything else? No, I think that's it for now. I did remove all that blue stuff, all the blue track. Some of it is really good. I also have some scratch and dent stuff. I know Battery Powered Bricks had said something about it, and he says it's going to be a while, and he knows to hit me up. He knows I have it. I'm going to try to print out some more. I'm going to try to talk to him, see if he wants some, see if any of the other YouTubers want any. And if so, I'll try to work with them to get some material. I'll do some printing. I'll take some time and try to get it to them if they want it. It's a very brilliant, beautiful blue, and I think colored track has a lot of really cool uses and a lot of really things that we can do with it that a lot of people have kind of shied away from because everyone just wants this track. And they talk about realism, and there's like this big push for realistic trains, and I like it, and I agree that they're really cool. But like 8-wide trains, when you start going realistic, it's a rabbit hole that you're never going to be able to finish, and you're always going to be chasing with LEGO. So I think going the opposite direction into LEGO World and the realm of insanity is kind of like the better thing. And I think some people are starting to embrace that. The other thing is, there was one other note I had. Oh yeah, the new Bricklink train station. Robin Hood Bricks did a video on it. A couple other people have done reviews on it. And basically, Robin Hood Bricks pointed out a lot of the issues that I had with it, just seeing it from the photos. He's the only person that I saw that did a real review on it. Everyone else just kind of praised it for its detail and it's the greatest thing ever. And, it's easily modifiable to fit tracks. And I'm like, not really. If you watch Robin Hood Bricks' channel, there are some issues with it. He does have some solutions coming, and he is going to be able to fix some stuff. But honestly, the designers of that set don't do LEGO train layouts, obviously. Most trains are going to be too long to fit in it, or too tall, or it's going to be harder to connect to tracks. Like, sure, there's adapters and terminations and all kinds of stuff from trick bricks and 4D bricks and 3D printed stuff, and there's a lot of that. But a lot of the purists aren't going to like that. They're not. And it's going to just end up being sitting pretty on a shelf. So while I think it is a beautiful set, I'm never going to take away from the beauty of a design. It is not a practical design. not a lot of thought went into how can this be deployed into a Lego city, a train setup, specifically mills kind of deal. So just something to consider if you're purchasing it, that you're going to have a little bit of integration pain with it. You might need to do some significant, overhauling of it. But other than that, I don't think I have anything else. Yeah. Trying to work on a few other things, but again, it's just going to be slow progress, guys. I have some exciting stuff for months in the future planned that I'm already working on. And so I'm hoping that by stacking future projects and future cool videos that I can do now, that even if I do get worse or I get sicker, I'll at least have some content for you guys come those months. But otherwise, I'm just going to keep carrying on doing what I'm doing, relaxing, recovering. And that's kind of it. Guys, not a lot else has changed. I think this video has gone on long enough. I think that we're good. So tell me what you think about the redesign of the cursed little switcher that's now not as cursed. Actually, let me get you guys a better view of that real quick. Whoop. Can't believe I just did that. Doo-doo. Oh my god, the camera card's so light. Anything messes it up. There we go. Let's get some light on this. So yeah, a couple little design elements, a couple little changes. This might get changed up again for whenever I do it with a key brick at some point. But yeah. Oh, and then the light shines through the windshield, and there are some details in there, but there's no room for a minifig. It's way too compact in there. It barely fits the cables inside. But yeah, tell me what you think of it. Tell me what you think about the redesign. Oh, one last thing. Sorry, I did realize. I 3D printed this end stop. It's way too big of a scale. Like, look at the size of those buffers. And as they fit, and these are on Thingiverse, as they fit, they clip, and they clip underneath of the normal Lego train buffers, and then like your train gets stuck. So I had to shave down the undersides of them. They work. It's a functional stop. I want to do a brick built stop with some kind of hydraulic or air or spring buffering thing, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I think that truly is it this time. Apologies. Again, bear with me. I'm dealing with crap. And other than that, you guys have a good day. Give me some feedback. Let me know what you think. If anyone has any deals or extra gear that they're trying to unload for cheap, or if you have a product you want me to test or look at, those are the kinds of things I can do right now. Those are the kinds of things I can work on. Please hit me up. I'll work with you, even if it's a review and send it back kind of thing. I'm looking to expand. I'm looking to do some stuff that's not super physical or not highly financial strain right now. And in the future, we'll really dig into some stuff. All right? Y'all have a good day. Stay safe. Stay healthy.